Hello and welcome. And as you well know, I am the Restless Geyser.
And I am Johnny B. Plus
Andy Callan.
Oosh! But together, for one night only, we are modelling for advantage. Woo!
Well, there you go. Let's see who we got in the chat tonight. Nick from Team Clueless Games is going to catch us in the rerun, as is xxxxxxxxxx. I seem to remember he does like a kid pickup or something exactly when we do the show.
Yeah.
Rosie says hello. Tony Holton is here. Rich John working tonight. Catch up while doing some painting tomorrow. Hello from the past to all of you people. Saffron69 says hi. And remember to hit the like button. But I'm sure you all know that and have already done it. Hobby-wise, tonight, I am still working on these Panzer Lair. I need to get another coat of Feldgau on them. And if I get that done, I've got some painted bases of these lovely Napoleonic French that Callan has painted. You will see Napoleonic games on the channel next year. I've got scenery. Callum's nearly finished the armies. Been practicing it down the club. It's gonna happen. About you, John, you doing any hobbying?
Yeah, mate. I'm working on 12 Perry's Bowman.
Oh, interesting.
To go with my 12 Billman that I painted earlier in the year. Yeah, so it seems on topic, and I can learn all about a system from the gentleman above that I can use them in.
Yeah,
true fact. Andy, you're not doing any hobbying tonight, surely? You're here to talk.
Well, I did. I was fiddling around with some Perry stuff earlier tonight, making some skirmishers. Yeah, using bits and pieces from various sets. Yeah, good. Awesome.
It's all good stuff. Well, sir, Lord Callan, could you tell our wonderful viewers who you are and what are you doing here, man? What's going on?
Okay, well, Andy Callan, I've been wargaming man and boy for last calculation was 54 years. I think I started about the late 60s, about 1968.
Holy moly.
Been doing it ever since, really. I'm on tonight because I've recently had a set of rules published by Wargames Illustrated. It's called Nevermind the Billhooks Deluxe, which is a expanded version of a set of rules that they gave away as a color supplement a couple of years ago. And since then, we've been trying to bring it out in book form. There's been a pandemic in the way, a global downturn, all sorts of other crap going on. But eventually, it has seen the light of day. So it was published about on Monday this week, actually. So
yeah, I think it was this week, was it?
Yeah, that's right. This Monday, yeah. So we're up and running now, and this is the second interview I've done. I think there's another couple scheduled for the next few days, so it's keeping me busy.
Awesome. Right, so there it is. Look, that's the actual book in physical form.
Oh, beautiful smell. So if during the course of tonight's show you're listening to Andy and you're thinking to yourself, I really want this game.
Yeah.
This is, do you know how much it costs and where
25
people get it from?
25 English pounds.
25 English pounds. For 178 pages, that's not bad going, that is it?
No, that's all right.
£25. It's published by WY, but is it available through the
get it from North Star or Arcane Scenery and Models or direct from Wargames Illustrated. Also available from Wargames Illustrated as a PDF. I think it's 20 quid for the PDF. I think absolutely the assumption you'll share it around with lots of your mates, so you can't get it too cheap.
No, you've got to have the book, surely.
Well, a bit of both, really. If you want loose leaf and things like that, get the PDF as well. But, you know.
Yeah, sounds fair.
That's good. So, because Andy's not going to get to show you this stuff, it is a beautifully produced book. Just in case you haven't sort of seen the interior or sort of illustrative stuff. And this is kind of the big difference from if you were one of the people that got Billhooks as a booklet on the cover of WY a couple of years back, as I did. I think that came out during lockdown, actually.
Yeah, it did 2020.
Just before. It was August the year before, August 2019, I think.
2019.
2020 it was, yeah, you're right. 2020, yeah.
2020, yeah. because I seem to remember being in WH Smith's wearing a mask and thinking, oh, this looks interesting, but I don't know if I want to touch it. Anyway, so a lot of what you're getting, which you can get before, is a lot more developed in terms of explanation of the rules, photographs, and I'm guessing this is what WI have done, have they?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, all I can do is write the words. You know, I couldn't do anything to do with layout or anything like that. You know, that's all the clever stuff, really. But you know, that's what makes the difference. It turns it into a sort of professional-looking thing, rather than like a scruffy word document. You know, but yeah, good.
Right down to what you don't see so much in Wargames rules these days. You've got like modelling and painting stuff at the back.
Yes, by Richard Lloyd from the Lead Adventure Forum. He's very good.
Oh, you didn't write these, did you?
No, that's by Richard Lloyd, also known as Captain Blood on the Lead Adventure Forum. On the forum, yeah. Even that paragraph there, plastic parts. Yeah, yes, that's absolutely. Right. So you're going to make everything out of in this. And the other big change is that I seem to remember Billhooks. If it wasn't specifically stated as being Wars of the Roses, it very much was. Yes, it was. It was specifically Wars of the Roses, and that's the sort of game I like to write. Really, one that's very fixed in its time, place, and action. But within a week or two of it being published, people were saying, "Well, why don't you do it for the Burgundian War? Why don't you do it for that? And why don't you do it for that?" And I thought, well, if I don't do it, somebody else will, and they'll make a mess of it. So I've said, I'll do it. You have to be a bit patient, but I will do it. And so we've pushed it back to the 100 Years' War and forward to the Italian Wars. So it's sort of 1350, 1525, thereabouts. And I wouldn't want to push it much further than that. Although, again, people are talking about, somebody's done a Crusades version and somebody wants to do, I don't know, something else. But yeah, I think it works. It works okay for any period where you don't have a structured chain of command. So Wars of the Roses, you've got one side will be made up of a motley collection of noblemen, each pursuing their own objectives and not susceptible to obeying orders. So it works quite well for that. And that's the card sequence recreates that sort of style of warfare quite well. But once you get a proper chain of command with people being expected to do what they're told, then it wouldn't work at all.
Actual professional armies, yeah.
So
some of the periods that we covered here is Wars of the Roses, 100 Years' War, Hussite Wars, Swiss Burgundian War, Italian Wars, Anglo-Scottish border reaving. They did more of it to us than we ever did to them, you know. Speaking of the Northerner, late medieval Portugal, which I wasn't expecting, and warfare on Ireland. If you want to fight barefoot with a javelin,
absolutely,
in the 15th century, that's the way to go.
Yeah, you see, I've written a couple of the chapters, and then the rest of them have been a collection of people from all over the place. So, you know, we've got a guy in Ireland, a guy in Portugal, a guy in the Czech Republic, someone in France, you know, someone up on the borders. So, yeah, it's an international effort, really. So,
and those different periods, in most cases, it's slightly different unit combinations or units.
Yeah, unit combination. Occasionally, there's differences in some of the command and control elements. So just to get the flavour right, really. But the core mechanisms are, you know, pretty much the same. I mean, I let the other authors do their own thing up to a point, and then, you know, I exercise my authorial authority and stopped them going off too far from the thing and brought them back in line when I needed to. But you know, I didn't let them do anything that would break the system. So that's it.
But what you don't have is a big list of potential units. The unit types are available within the setting.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Which keeps the theme tight.
Yeah, and as far as possible, the rules for a particular troop type in one period are going to be either identical or very similar in others. So they will have little differences, but you know, once you learn the core rules, you can switch over to any of the other periods very easily. That's the idea.
All right, I'll just make sure we haven't missed anybody. Any questions? So Nick Games and Charles Latoro have joined us.
Very good.
Tony Halton reminding everyone that Xenos Rampant is out for anyone that is fed up with 40k and wants to play different sci-fi, I'm on that list. Hey everyone, Crossing Obstacles Gaming. Pre-COVID mask wearing was just a hobby for Kaiser. I'd say the one change for me is that coughing into your elbow thing. Yeah, I never used to do that, and now that's a habit that I have adopted, and it makes sense. Really,
I use my knuckle for touch screens. That's the difference. I still do that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Is that a bit of violence there? How close is it to the other Rampant games? Oh, he's talking about Xenos Rampant there. Yeah. Okay. Right. So the game itself, then.
Yeah.
Never mind the Billhooks. For anyone that wants like a fairly detailed rundown, Wargames Illustrated, you've already recorded a series. I think there's about a dozen videos.
Yeah, that's right.
It's about an hour of gameplay.
Yeah,
where you can really see how it does.
Yeah,
it's got a few things going for it, right? And from what I can see as an outside kind of games are like, is it's quick, it's fun, you throw a lot of dice, but it's still got some modern twists.
Yes.
So if we start with it's quick.
Yeah, it is.
It's not a 4-hour game, is it?
No, God,
certainly not unless you beef up the armies bigger than the kind of listing.
Which you can do. People do, but you know, the style of game I prefer it for, and you know, is 80 to 100 figures a side. You'll get it done in an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. Quicker than that if the dice goddess deems it to be so. But you'll never, you know, you'll be set up and going down the pub after 2.5 hours. So that's set up, packed away, and going back down the pub. So yeah, that's the idea. Quick and dirty, really.
Yeah, and like a lot of kind of it's not strictly a rank and flank game because it's not quite that bean county, but you do have units in a fixed formation. I guess.
Yeah.
It's not scenery heavy. In fact, you need a fair amount of open space for the game.
Well, you know, medieval England wasn't scenery heavy. It was open fields, really. You know, you might have the odd copse and things around there, but there wasn't the same sort of field boundary systems that we see today. So
and people fight battles in fields, not in woodlands, because they can see what they're doing.
Yeah. Unless you're in Ireland, of course, where there's lots of woods and bogs and all sorts of things. But
yes. Well, yeah. So the not only is it fast to play, there's a good pace to the game as well.
Yes.
It's not, you know, you get through those 2 hours.
Because of the card rooms, there's always something happening. You know, you're not sitting around for half an hour waiting for your turn to come round. You don't have to wait too long, and all the shooting, there's saving throws in it, which is very old school. But you know, it means you're involved even when the enemy's doing something. So that's
correct.
Yeah,
there's something, but you don't have the Warhammer style long chains of dice. I hit, you defend. Now we remove models.
Oh God, yeah. You fortunately made it to 2. It's roll to hit, roll to save. There you go.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. But also army composition. One of the things that as a young man, I used to really like spending a lot of time building lists. You know, those of us that are old enough playing WRG say, well, if I have 9 heavy cavalry that's B class, and that's only this many points, then I can have a 5 armored infantry in my pike unit instead of 4. Give me an extra casualty. Used to love that. I now despise it. I absolutely hate it. Yeah. And in terms of your list building, you got a couple of things going for it. One is you don't have huge numbers of units, but the others to choose from. The others is fixed unit sizes.
Yeah.
So building your army is very quick.
Yeah. It makes life a lot easier for the rules writer if all the units are the same size. Otherwise, you get horrible overlaps and gamey things going on. I don't like that. I mean, it's not realistic, is it? Because units would have as many men as they could scrape together. But you know, it makes playing the game a lot easier. So that's my excuse.
But maybe that unit that rolled a load of 2s this battle was slightly under strength, right?
Yeah, that's probably
There's all kinds of other things that that dice need to account for.
Yeah.
But your units basically come in. Well, your infantry come in 2 sizes. They come in 12s.
Yeah. You got companies of 12, which is your heavy infantry, or your archers, or your billmen, or your pikemen, or men at arms. You have skirmishers in bands of 6, and your cavalry comes in squadrons of 8. And that's it, really. Sometimes the infantry can combine into formations of 2 companies, so you have blocks of 2 or lines of 2. Blocks of pikes are pretty good. But apart from
and there's some of those sort of themed variations, right? So your English men at arms can combine bill and bow into a single formation.
Yes.
But your continental armies can use a pike block.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and 100 Years' War English can have a hearse, which is 3, which is a central block, and 2 wings of archers, things like that.
Right. Yeah, because the numbers are different.
Yeah.
But that means a bit like somebody's mentioned Lion Rampant earlier. It's like your halberdiers, your billmen fight on. There's 12 dice. There's 12 models. You roll 12 dice.
Yeah,
your
but
archers,
unlike in the Rampant series, attrition does matter. 9 men will fight less effectively than 12.
Yes. Yeah, that does not happen in the Rampant series. You're good until you're almost dead, and then evolving everything.
Yeah,
I did like that.
So you got that kind of familiar. You got that quick list building, and you could potentially with this, presumably you could play pretty vast battles if you really wanted to. That wouldn't take all day as well, because it's fairly speedy.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I mentioned then was about the kind of the modernness. So what the mechanic that stood out to me the most, there's a lot of elements of this game that I could have recognized from a game that Rick Priestley had written 20 years ago, right? In terms of the fighting mechanic you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, the shooting of melee is Donald Featherston, really.
Is it?
Donald
Is it goes
Featherston,
back
Tony
that far?
Platt in 50s, 60s.
Yeah. And it's one of the better ways of doing it if you like rolling a lot of dice.
Yeah.
Have you
if
played?
Don't fix it. It's a good mechanism. Why try and be clever for the sake of it?
Yeah. There's other systems where you roll a d20, which has got a huge range on it.
I don't believe in any other shape of dice than a cube.
Right. Does it have to have spots, not numbers?
Spots. Yeah, it's got to be spots.
I find numbers on a 6-sided dice are boring.
Yeah. Well, I don't like symbols either, because I'm never sure whether it's the 6 or the 1.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's good in a tournament setting, I think. If you really want to win.
Yeah.
But yes. But activation, it's not a my turn, your turn. It's not we all do the movement phase, then we all do the shooting phase.
No.
Or even some of those silly systems where it's my movement phase, but then you shoot and then I shoot. You've got an not quite alternating. You've got a deck from which activation.
The deck has 1 card for each leader on the field. So typically you'll have a commander-in-chief and 2 or 3 leaders in your army, and then mixed in with that, there's something called the 2 bonus cards, which is little extras, and each side has a card for its skirmishers and artillery. So when the card is drawn, that leader or whatever the other card is activated. He does everything he wants to do, and then it moves on to the next one. So the turn order is unpredictable. The other thing is that the last card in the deck is never drawn. So if it's one of your leaders, it's just tough luck. And it might come up twice in a row that he's the last card. It's unusual, but there's a little bit of jeopardy in there. But that's enough to keep it to keep the interest. And so the turn progresses quickly but unpredictably.
I like games to have that kind of double turn option.
Yeah.
So I went at the end of last turn and at the beginning of the next turn.
Yeah.
But I don't like it to be at all reliable. I want it to be amazing when it happens.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to be able to bang on it. So I really like that as a.
Yeah, there's nothing reliable in Billhooks at all. You can't have a plan because it just falls apart as soon as the cards come out in the wrong order. But
Yeah.
There wasn't anything clever done on Wars of the Roses battlefields, as far as I can see.
Make the other guy run away and then slaughter them all with
that's good. Yeah, that works.
How you do it. Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, that's the main one, I think.
And that does happen. You get the great thing about Billhooks is you get this domino-like morale collapse at some point, and it can come at any point in the battle, and it's very unpredictable, but very entertaining, unless you're on the losing side, of course.
So, as well as casualties, I do recall you've got 2 negative status effects, haven't you? Is it disorder and disarray or something?
Disarray and daunted, beginning with D.
Daunted, that's a word I haven't seen as a more info.
There's lots of D's in it that you have.
Daunted, I was like, feeling a bit iffy.
You have a class of leader called a dolt as well. That's quite.
Oh right, yeah.
You'll
have to explain to our American viewers what that is.
Yeah, so a disarray is, you're not arrayed as well as you should be. Your ranks are a bit all over the place, probably because you've crossed a ditch or something like that. Daunted is you're feeling a bit worried, really, and you're close to legging it unless the leader comes over and sorts you out. But yeah.
But you can have you can be in disarray and be daunted. You can hold both statuses.
You can, yeah, absolutely. You're in the right mess then. You're going to take a good while to sort out. If it's probably better to let them go, actually, because
I'll let them run.
Yeah, your leader's got better things to do than try and pull them back in line. It's going to take too much of your attention. But yeah,
which is the other thing is the deck from which you're going to get your orders.
Yeah,
it's not this unit activates, it's this leader activates.
Yes.
So there's still a player agency in
there. Is, yeah.
Like my leader wants to do lots of different things. I'm going to pick which one he's going to do.
Yeah, they've got very limited command range as well. So the troops tend to operate in blocks, which is what they did in the Wars of the Roses, really, in the medieval times. It naturally falls into the sort of 3 wards or battles that you would have on each side. And usually you square up against your opposite number and have a sort of your own local fight, really. And then eventually you lose track of what's going on the other side of the field, which is good. That works sometimes. Actually, you could have more than one player aside. It's designed for a quick two-player game, but it scales up very easily.
Yeah, but like you say, when it goes south quickly.
It does, yeah,
or can do.
Yeah,
But that's good because I never like games which you just don't feel like getting to the end of. At this point, the conclusion is inevitable.
Yes,
but I don't want to spend the time getting there. I much prefer games where I'm still in it and then I'm just done.
Oh, it's very true in Billhooks. It's not over till it's over, and I've seen so many games where people pull it out of the fire right at the end, and so you're never quite sure. You're never quite sure.
Yeah, because 6s are always good. Now, so also about keeping it fun, you've got them silly cannon mechanics, haven't you?
Yeah.
Cannons are unreliable, so let's make
they are. It's new technology, so you roll 6 dice to shoot. All your 6s are kills. On the other hand, if you roll 3 1s, the gun blows up, and it's according to my study of the statistics, it's about a 6% chance, but
evil 9 times out of 10 it blows up.
Evil dice goddess makes sure it happens far more often than that.
Yeah.
If you laugh at one side's gun, the enemy's gun's blowing up. You can bet your life yours will blow up next turn as well. So
yeah,
the way round is to say a prayer to Saint Barbara, I believe.
And the patron saint of gunners. Yeah, I remember that from the Total War series. I think.
Yeah.
That's in one of the speeches in medieval Total War.
Yeah.
We've got a viewer comment in here. Hi, Andy. Great to meet you at Battleground. Was that one of the shows you had recently? Thank you so much for signing my copy and selling me yours.
Yes.
Great old Empire model talk. Maybe you remember that conversation.
Yes, I do. Yeah, he was admiring my. I did an Italian Wars game, and I was using old Warhammer Empire knights as gendarmes because they're big and beefy. They look a lot bigger.
Oh, right, yes. So and they've got that very high Gothic armor.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, so I think they look good. They make the other cavalry look very puny by comparison.
Yeah. But are all the plastic tails snapped off?
I bought a load on eBay quite recently and had to. I eventually made the tails out of sisal string.
Right, you did have to replace the tails.
Worked quite well, actually.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Tony Halton says, "Never mind the Billhooks. Sounds like my kind of game."
Good, Tony. You go for it. Yeah.
Perhaps the fat fella dressed in red might drop one under the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I understand it will make an excellent Christmas gift. Is that right?
It will, yes.
Wargaming friends. How many figures do I need to paint to get? So this is a fair question, right? It's why you haven't seen me playing Wars of the Roses.
Right, you have a good size. You'll have a good size army with about 80 figures. So that's what you get. 2 boxes of Perrys for each side, and you're there really.
Maybe I should have shown them on the Perry. Perry models make about 4 boxes that cover everything you're going to need.
Yeah,
they make a Wars of the Roses infantry, which covers the bill and the bow.
Yeah,
so you got a mixture of troops in a cuirass or in just a not a jerkin, what's it called, like a gambeson or something like that, or a jack, and either pike or bow armed. They make a they make an 1450s man at arms, mounted man at arms, which is the 1453, I think, is the start of the Wars of the Roses. And then they make a light cavalry one, which will do for all kinds, right up to your Scots, Reivers, and so forth. And then they make your Burgundians, your European mercenaries, which has got your arquebusiers or whatever it is, handgunners, and your pikemen. Yeah. But and they're all Burgundian in an English army.
Well, they're late 15th century. And then they do their Agincourt range, and certainly some of the archers are perfectly usable for the Wars of Roses there, I think, mix and match. And then other ranges...
I thought they were slightly smaller, the 100.
Yeah, they are, but, some blokes are smaller than others, aren't they, really?
So they are.
Yeah,
they
Michael.
Are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's between that, those four kits I mentioned are fairly interchangeable. Though.
Yeah. And there's so many bits and pieces and different heads and all sorts. No two figures need to be the same. And there's a good little sub chapter on that in the book about how to mix and match. It calls it kit bashing. So that's very good. Yeah.
And so it's a crossing obstacles game, just repeating. 80 to 100 gives you. And the way you're going to make these if you've got models already starting, is you're going to make them in units of 12 for your bill or your bowman.
Although I would say that you can use any number of figures in your units. Just assume that they have, for the infantry, it doesn't have to have 12 figures. It could have 20 or 30 or 6, but it has 12 strength points, and you just put a couple of little dice at the back to replicate the casualties. I mean, I take off figures because I'm old school like that, but you don't have to.
We have movement trays. I like movement trays, but I don't like empty holes on movement trays. So I don't know. I'm sort of torn on that one. Miller's Miniatures. I really like the original one. I might miss it. Have you had a chance to pick up the new set? But is there much of a difference between them?
No, not really. I've had 2 years of feedback, and I've tightened up the wording a lot. But there's very few changes of substance in the core rules, the Wars of the Roses. But of course, there's 7 extra periods now introduced in the book. So it goes from 100 Years' War to early 16th century Italian wars. But the core system has been pretty robust. It stood up to everything people can chuck at it.
But there's a lot more history in there. There's modeling tips, there's painting tips, there's that kind of, and other settings to use the rules. But rewind the tape 20 minutes and you'll see we talked about them first. Good name.
Hey, dude.
Right, yeah. I think Nevermind the Billhooks is a great name. I like that guns blowing up. Yeah, absolutely. You're playing a game, not a simulation when that happens, right?
Yeah, well, Don't rely on new technology is the answer to that one.
So nobody saw. If I keep looking around, it's like I was holding a paintbrush, and then I started talking or reading a book, and then I've lost it. I don't know where it's gone.
Boo!
I've got a pile of paintbrushes right here, but I still want the one that I was using before, of course.
Naturally.
Most of the other ones you should have thrown away. So, tell us about the whole War Games Illustrated thing, though, Andy. How? I mean, there's a lot of publishing houses. But you did originally make this as a booklet, came through War Games Illustrated.
Yeah.
How did that begin?
Well, I've got history with War Games Illustrated. I had a set of rules in the issue number 1, and they're now on 420. So I've been around on and off for the last 30 years or so. And I live near Nottingham, which is
the
world ground zero for historical wargaming, and it's home of War Games Illustrated. So if I need to pop over to see the editor, it's a sort of 40-minute journey. It's easy. So that's the connection, really.
So did you approach them, say, look, I've got these rules, or
no? It was
having a beer, or
a neighbour, a friend of mine, Steve Wood from Arcane Scenery and Models, who knows Dan at War Game Illustrated quite well, and we were playing. We developed this game at my house really as a sort of home entertainment. And he said, these rules are good, you know, you really ought to do something more with them. I said, well, such as what? He says, I'll have a word with Dan at Wargames Illustrated, see what he says. And they like them as well. So they decided to publish them as a sort of colour supplement to the magazine. It's the first time they've done anything like that. And
I didn't. Yeah.
As a result, it led on to this book, which is, again, it's the first time they've published a book as well as a magazine. So, yeah. So it's not house rules really, but it's, you know, they have endorsed it quite well, and they give it a lot of coverage in the magazine, and it has spin-off articles and all sorts of things. And I dare say there's going to be more of that coming in the months ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of their interaction with us, they were very enthusiastic about it. We
good.
had I forget, was he called Dan, the guy we had on the show from WI? You know, and he was talking about it, very excited about it when it was coming up for release. He was like, can I send you a review copy? And I was like, send us a copy, but let's get Andy on to talk about it.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And they've made those videos. I've got to say it's a funny one. I think I said to you before the show. I am definitely going to play this game, but people on the YouTube are not going to see it for ages because we just can't go back to making videos. I say go back. When I started, I was attempting. We're not going like unpainted miniatures, you know, cardboard box fortress, stuff. You know, we've got to have some kind of production values here.
Yes.
But to get 200 miniatures painted, that's going to take a bit of time.
Yeah.
So,
it's not as bad as it used to be. I mean, when I used to. Back in the day, I used to do games with 500-600 figures on. I mean, they weren't very well painted at all, of course, but you know,
no,
you had to have big armies. That was the way to do it. So
is that not kind of one of the reasons you sort of started to develop this sort of skirmish version of the War of the Roses?
I think so, because the
Battle of Pickerton Farm or something. What was it called?
It was called Nibley Green. Nibley Green.
Yeah,
it sounds like something off children's TV, doesn't it? Really, yes. But yeah. There's only about 600 men aside on that one. It's a private battle. Yeah, so that was it really. But recently, painting standards have gone up so high. Whether that's possibly from the magazines, but you know, people's expectations are so high that you can't just put hundreds of crappily painted figures out. This doesn't do it anymore. So, yeah.
You mean when they lay out the Napoleonics and you can smell the gloss varnish?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I love the bit. I mean, I do. I had a big Napoleonic game last weekend. It's probably 600 figures aside on the table, but you know.
Yeah. But no one's ever doing that again. You know, it's like those guys. They've got those figures, but
no. You know, who's got the time? You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I've already got a few boxes of Perry's. I already started making them. We are going to play this.
Yeah. Have you really?
Yeah. But part of the appeal of the Wars of the Roses, though, to some people, is it is a great story, you know, and a lot of kind of military conflicts. It can get a bit difficult trying to pick a side that you really want to be, you know. But the Wars of the Roses, because it's about all of these lords, so many of them pursuing their own agendas.
George R.R. Martin's got a whole franchise out of it, really, hasn't he? With you know,
you can
that's what it is. It's War of the Roses with dragons, isn't it? Really,
Game of Thrones.
But you can kind of get into that, you know. You can say, look, I've read about this guy. I want this guy's retinue.
Yes,
you know, paint up 12 figures in that livery.
Yeah,
and then you find somebody if you want to go down that road.
Yeah. But I mean, there's only so many color combinations you've got, so you just do a different flag and you can use them for several different rectinues. Really, nice about it.
Yes, absolutely. And you don't need to do that, but for those that want to, you know, for your kind of brass and buttons guys, you can. Every regiment could be a different color.
Yeah, it could.
And in your men at arms and your knights, every model can be wearing different.
You know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, my lot, my army's core retinue is based on, you know, the coat of arms is based on the two local pubs, the Wheat Sheaf and the Lion. So, you know, you make it up. Who cares, you know? Because you can't have button counters in this period because nobody knows really. There's a handful of reasonable depictions of troops from the period, but there's no, you know, nobody knows really. And the ones who say they do are making it up, as far as I'm concerned. Well,
as a classic example of that, the Battle of Bosworth, 1485. You can go to the Battle of Bosworth battlefield. There's a museum on the site. There's a tour guide and all that kind of thing. And tell you, we're still not be exactly sure where the battle was, but we think Henry was there, Richard was there, and Stanley was over there.
Yeah, and then they change it. They change it every 10 years or so.
Yeah, just move. But they've got big flags up, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean they were definitely there. That's just our best guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, how much we know about it? Well, but yeah, interesting. So, Billhooks, then you mentioned Facebook. So for people, you know, I say some people, a lot of us do. You get hold of a set of rules, you play it 3 times, you're like, all right, I know where he's going with this, but I think it would be better if my red banner men were +1 in combat or whatever it is that I want to do. And there's a whole bunch of people already getting on with that kind of thing.
Yeah, the Facebook page
is a Facebook group.
Yeah, never mind the Billhooks Facebook, but last count was about 2,700 members on it, which, you know, this is a tiny fraction of your average cat video fan club, but you know, it's still not bad for war games. And you know, they are all over the place. I've got them in America, Australia, Japan, everywhere really. So yeah, and it's a very friendly sort of group. I was very dubious about getting on Facebook because I'm a child of the 1950s, but it's been good. I thought I was going to get involved in all sorts of, you know, vicious arguments, but it's been very friendly. So that's, you know, it keeps me busy. I have to keep looking at the damn thing. I drive my wife up the wall, keep looking.
Oh, right, you've become a Facebook.
Yeah, well, you know, because actually it's got better recently because people have started answering the questions for me.
Good.
Which is good because otherwise there are always people coming up with rules questions. I thought, well, if I don't answer it quickly, someone will answer it wrong, you know. So, and I was just, but no. So that especially today, there was somebody came up with a couple of questions, and people piled in with saying, "Yeah, you need to do this, 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 this." Basically, it was read the rules properly, mate. But you know, that was that was good, and I didn't have to do anything with that, so that was great.
So have you had it yet where you've been looking online and people are disagreeing over one of your rules, and then someone says, I think that the intention of the rules is this, and you're like, I'm the guy, that wasn't my intention.
Well, yeah. There's a lot going on under the bonnet that you can't really see, really. And little mechanisms are in there that produce the right outcome. It may not... That's the intent. The point is to get the right result. It doesn't really matter how you get there. But I've usually got an answer to most people, and I have to be honest. I've not heard a really bad word said about it in 2 years. So that, you know, it's remarkable, really. But I'm very satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't set it up to be what it isn't. You know, it's just an entertainment. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. You know, I'm not trying to advance some sort of historical theory about what happened on Wars of the Roses battlefields, because I don't think anybody knows. I don't think they really know what was going on at the time, really, because the battles were so few.
Well, I as I said to you before the show, my special topic in my history degree at Lancaster was the wars. Well, specifically Richard III, actually.
Yeah.
And having read all of the original chronicles, I can tell you that they don't agree about most things.
No.
And most of the chronicles are written some years after, anyway.
Yeah.
Very little contemporary information.
Yeah, they're very good on who was there. Normally, it's a bit like a society page saying who was at a particular party, you know, but nobody can tell you what actually happened at the time.
No.
Eventually, somebody comes out as the winner. Usually, Edward IV. Miraculously, sometimes he really rode his luck. Sometimes that guy, but you know, he came out on top all the time. So good for him.
He's lucky. He ended up being king. He won a lot of battles. but he did lose a lot of family members.
Yeah, he did. He's very careless with that.
Very careless with his dad and his brothers. Only managed to keep Richard out of the 4 of them.
And look how that turned out.
Was that the good brother? Well, I'm a Ricardian, so I think it's all Tudor lies, all of that foolishness. I'll tell you what, genuinely, as someone who'd studied the period, I was absolutely gobsmacked when they pulled his body out the car park. And
yeah, it's fantastic.
No, the fact that he was crippled.
Yeah, it was great because they phoned up the chairman of the whatever it is society. Said, "Well, we think we found him, but
he really is crippled.
He really was hunchback. You know, I think she was really disappointed by that.
Yeah, well, because it just looked like Tudor propaganda, and you know, I mean, you have to remember is Henry VII is a usurper. He needs to demonize the guy who came before him. Right? Yeah. And this just seemed like a petty thing to have said about a man at the time.
Got a wonky back.
Yeah, and he pulled him out of the carpet and was like, nah, mate, he's got a S-shaped back. That's a serious problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So how did you get into Wars of the Roses then in particular?
It's hard to remember now, really.
I mean, is it a recent thing, or
I think it's a challenge? The challenge more than anything, because I read about all these battles and I thought they sound a bit boring. Really, they're a bit like a big rugby scrum. You know, how do I make a game out of this? So, I think with Billhooks, there's a bit more. There's more going on the battlefield, on the tabletop, than there would have been in the real battles. But
you mean in terms of how dynamic it is?
Yeah, I think so. But actually, it doesn't really matter because the final outcome is still credible. Like I think I was saying earlier that they have been used for much bigger battles, and a guy who goes by the name of Eric the Shed has done the entire run of Wars of the Roses battles. His Towton had 1,500 figures on the table, and the narrative and the outcome is so close to the sort of thing that happened. The Towton one was won on the very last card of the very last turn with a dramatic turn of fortune, and I couldn't script it better, and it's just the way it turns out. So although the detail may differ, the outcomes are still very credible and satisfying from a historical point of view.
And this is again where the activation system that you're operating, it means that you can't just form your own army into one big line and then just blob it all towards the enemy. No, which is almost certainly what did happen in the larger battles, but is not an interesting game. No, it's far more likely that Lord so and so on the right wing will go blundering off on his own and leave everybody else behind. And yes.
As I said, no plan survives contact with the enemy, so especially not in this game. So you can't plan too much ahead. You just have to think on your feet though and respond quickly to changing circumstances. I think that's what I'd say.
Play the card that's in front of you.
Yeah.
Which keeps games fresh, I think.
Yeah.
I like it for that. So you've kind of been working on this then, presumably for the last sort of 18 months to get.
Yeah, it's taken over my life. I would like to guess how many hundreds of hours of my life it's taken over, but it's finally come to fruition.
So now you've got the summer house in Mastique with all the other fabulously wealthy people.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, I'm not sure really as far as anything beyond Billhooks go, but there's certainly going to be a naval version coming out next year, probably. Never mind the boat.
Naval 100 Years War era.
Yeah. Never mind.
Is that not just this, but with the deck under your feet?
Yeah. So we tried it with and the mechanisms adapt very, very well. Instead of each leader, you have each one's a ship, so it works quite well. I demoed it at one of the partisan shows this year, and it looks good as well. So that's.
And are these with Sarissa's boats, or
could be, or homemade, or whatever? Yeah, I've used the Sarissa cog, and we've done some homemade ones as well. You can download paper ships off the Peter Dennis Paperboys page as well, and they work very well as well.
So that's kind of taken me by surprise a little bit. So that is a game currently in development, and you've been
Yes.
touring shows with it.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at Salute with it?
No, well, the Salute. We'll be down at Salute with Billhooks, and it'll be a nice looking terrain with an Italianate sort of town and a bit of a coastline with a ship on it as a sort of, this is coming soon, boys.
A nod.
It's a sort of,
a nod and a wink and a new missus.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
Speaking nod and wink and it anyway. I think one of the mechanics that I missed, again, for anyone that has it, as well as having your leader activations, then you got the kind of activity skirmishes. One of the other cards in there, there's the scope for random events.
Yes, there's two types of random events. In the deck, there are what's called 2 bonus cards, and there's a small deck. When you get that one comes up, you dice to see who gets it. If it's a draw, nobody gets it. If you win that one, you draw a card from the bonus deck. And there's 5 little things in there. There's perk, which means you can take an extra action. There's forfeit, which means you play it on an enemy and he can't do it. He does 1 less action. There's re-roll, which you can re-roll a hand of dice or 1 dice or whatever. There's dummy, which doesn't mean anything. And then there's
I won nothing. Boo.
And then there's special event, and then there's a separate deck of special event cards that you can draw, and they cover a range of possible things that could happen to you on the Wars of the Roses battlefield. So it goes from things like treachery, where you can play it on an enemy unit and it turns on them. That's a bit of a killer. There's things like Falkenberg's Gambit, which is where your enemy's arrows drop short, so they waste a round of their shooting. Various things like that, but that's just adds a little bit of chrome. You can only have 2 of those in any one battle, so they don't dominate it. It's just a little bit of extra interest.
But they're not irrelevant either.
No, they have an impact, but they're not going to be game changing. But they can alter the
flow of that turn.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely worth checking out the Wargames Illustrated YouTube videos that have been done.
Yes,
with Mr.
Rule set.
No, you can use any size figures, Charles. People have done it with 15s. They've done it with 6s. The main thing is that instead of having 12 figures in a company, you have as many as you like, and just give that unit 12 strength points. And so instead of taking figures off, you just knock the strength points down. So there's no, and you just adjust the move distances and shooting ranges to suit, really.
It is handy in Billhooks, I did notice from reading the rules, to have a good head for imperial numbers. It is about 16 lands and 12s.
Inches are good. Yeah, 6-sided dice are good. None of this.
12, the number 12 being divisible by 12, all of that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
John, I interrupted you. Sorry, mate.
No, it's okay. I was just saying, go check out the videos and you get a feel for the game.
Yeah.
And a bit about Andy's design ethics of it, using lots of rules from previous sets as well to make this awesome.
Yeah. What I've done with Billhooks is I've taken a lot of tried and tested rules from the last. Well, there's one in there from H.G. Wells. There's a lot from John Featherstone. There's some from the 2 Fat Lardies in there. There's it's a bit. But what I like to think I've done is I've produced a new sort of cocktail. I've mixed them all together in a particular way, added a dash of this and a dash of that and a bit of myself, and it's come up with a sort of new taste sensation. So that's what it is. But if it's a good mechanism and it works, why not use it? It's good.
Could the rules be adapted for earlier battles? I'll bet you anything you like that people are already doing it on the Facebook.
Well, they are, yeah. I mean, within a fortnight of the Facebook page going up, somebody done it for the Barons Wars. I know somebody's doing it for the Crusades. I wouldn't like to do it for anything later than the Italian Wars, really. Once you start getting a structured chain of command, it doesn't work. It works for anything where you've got armies made up of uneasy alliances of noblemen who are pursuing their own interests, I would say. But once you've got a formal
it's in
structure,
terms of activation mechanic, isn't it?
Yeah.
The limited amount of command
Yeah.
that the leaders have and control.
Yeah.
Say, all right, I can keep hold of Percy and Stanley at any one time.
Yeah.
But I need to be able to trust this other guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know. So with your earlier periods, it's also an era of kind of warband fighting, really. I mean, we're calling them retinues, but these are personal warbands.
Yeah, they are very much so. Yeah.
In fact, this isn't even traditional feudalism, is what some people may not know about high medieval in Britain. It's what we reached a period called bastard feudalism.
Yes.
These guys in these noblemen's armies, they're not the yeoman farmers or the peasant farmers from their estates. They're paid men to wear their badge.
Yes, that's right.
They're literally, they're effectively mercenaries.
Yes.
But
and on the rare occasions where you get town levies and county levies taken to Wars of the Roses battlefields, they don't last very long.
No.
They're no good up against the professionals.
But they are quite small units. So when you're looking at these 12 figures, probably aren't representing much more than 100 guys.
No,
like 5,000 men is a huge army by the Wars of the Roses standard.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
And 500 men is an army by the Wars of the Roses standards.
Yeah,
you go see somebody's castle with that and win.
Yes. Well, you only need 3 men and a dog to defend some of these castles. You know, I think Harlech held out with about 15 men for 3 years or something. You know, it's ridiculous.
What?
Yeah.
And a native population.
Well, that as well. Yeah.
Come on. Be fair. Read the rules properly. Good Lord. Sure, that's asking a lot, right? Certainly in some place. Good evening, Brother Mythos. It's amazing how people can turn nasty. There's some talk about like sharing your painting online going on. Going on there. All right, JVC Paint's got to go. When is Salute? It's April next year, right?
April next year. Oh, well done.
Yeah. And is it their 50th anniversary or something? It's an anniversary. I'm sure it's an anniversary. Yeah, we are definitely going to be going. They did get in touch with us asking if we wanted press passes, John.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Press passes?
Yeah, mate. But that might mean you'll have to work.
I doubt it.
That's true. Last show you came to, John, we went to Warfare and we did some interviews.
Right.
John's in a video for about 3 minutes and it's just of him checking my jacket pocket for my wallet and phone while I was off going to get someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ships thing then.
Yeah.
This ships thing, that's really interesting. So is this something that you're working on independently? It's likely to be a supplement and expand a lot?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah. Well, I did a lot of work on it earlier this year. While the book was a bit stalled really in the spring. So me and Steve Wood from Arcane Scenery Models did something, and I say we put it on at one of the Partisan shows just as a sort of demo. You probably find it if you look online.
I'll have a look.
And it's instead of having 70 or 80 figures aside, you have half a dozen ships aside, and you have sailing ships and galleys and little things as well. But it seems to work. So good, and it looks nice as well. So
yes, we get to kill Frenchmen on the high seas. That is
very
an
much so.
Excellent thing for any Englishman to do. Beat the French on the high seas. I think we're good at that.
Well, not really. I mean, Britannia really didn't rule the waves in those days. It was a bit hit and miss. What was going on in the channel.
No, but we don't like to talk about that fact.
No,
pretend that 1805 all the way back, all the way forwards, ever since. Never mind. We're coming up towards the end of the show, guys. So, a couple things I want to say in relation to us. We are preparing our Christmas quiz for those of you that remember the shambles historical knowledge that are the Modelling Advantage contributors. If you want to contribute a set of questions, you can email them to modellingforadvantage.co.uk. Please do it as a round of 5 questions and provide multiple choice answers. That's the format that we go with, so that John's got at least a chance of getting 1 in 4 right.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Any topic you like, but if you can keep it around gaming or war movies, history, then at least it's relevant. But if you want to, we are running an offer through the web store at the moment. If you haven't seen it, with the voucher code FREE50, you can have free shipping on things over £50, orders over £50, and that's on top of our regular 15%. We've got pre-orders on there at the moment for the new American Civil War epic stuff from Warlord and the new Team Yankee starter set, as well as the stuff that we've had on there for a while. Please do have a look. Next week, I can't remember what we're doing. Next time, in 2 weeks' time, in the next live show, we are going to be a bit of a stretch for us. We're going to have Pete, who runs a local sort of gaming club, and we're going to be talking about Magic the Gathering, which is something that I haven't played for about 20 years, but it's still going strong. It's still a sort of side hustle in the hobby for many players. And he's very much into the tournaments and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to get Pete on from Geeks to Gaming in Luton and talk a little bit about Magic and do some hobbying. Where did you get to with your hobbying, John? Show them what you did.
I've done the blues on the Archer dudes.
Very nice. So
they're good. Now I'm just doing the little arrows and then basing, blah 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 blah. But I need to speed up this process.
Are you speed painting it?
With
speed paints?
Sort of, yeah. I'm speed paint plus because I'm foolish and I keep going over the top with a layer, and then I end up going through the exact same process. So that's going to be one of my my future goals.
I was wondering about speed paints and that straight line you have on so many of these liveries. Does it not blur? Does it not?
If you do it with army painter speed paints, yeah, most probably you'd have to do one color, let it dry forever, and then come back and do the other color. Contrast paints mostly hold the line a little bit better.
Yeah, because none of them look good if they go over the top of another color, do they?
Darker over the lighter, you're okay.
Yeah. That'll be your pro tip.
Tends to bleed. Anyways.
Andy, speed paints. Have you indulged in this new thing, or do you still like to
I'm
pop up and humble?
Best I do is block and ink. That's best I do. So it works for me.
Block and ink, right? And I got another layer on the Panzer layer ready. We are going to be doing a battle report for that soon, aren't we? That's what these are for. That's why I need to get them done. We're not sure whether we're going to get. We might stream another. If you saw it last week, we did the Great Escape Games 1914 battle. We had a good laugh on reading the rules again after we played through the first time. We got a lot of stuff wrong, John. We got quite a lot of stuff badly wrong. So whether we'll film a game and hope that we get it all right next time, or we might stream another one of those. I think maybe before Christmas. Because if we're going to get half the rules wrong and have to fumble through,
I mean, we've got plenty of systems that we need to play, right? So why not bang it up?
So Andy, remind them where they can buy Billhooks, and where they can touch your Facebook page.
Okay, well, Billhooks, you can get it direct from Wargames Illustrated, either as a softback book, 25 quid, or as a PDF download, 20 quid, or you can get it from Arcane Scenery and Models and what is it?
North Star, you said?
North Star, well done, thank you. Yes, North Star, Nick Air at North Star. Yeah, they're the three official stockists, but it's starting to get out there in other places as well. Just Google it, you'll find it. Never mind, the Billhooks Facebook page is precisely that. That's all you need to put in to get there. It's an open site, so you can go on and see what's happening. It's a good lively sort of site with lots of modelling tips and battle reports and rules arguments and stuff like that. So
I love a man in a room full of books, and he looks like
it's my little box room. The line with my wife was, look, if you let me put all my books in here, they won't spread anywhere else in the house. Of course, that hasn't happened, has it really? But you know, it is full to the gunnels. I'm going to have to start culling them now. But I did that. When I first got into Wars of the Roses. I did that, and then I got rid of my Wars of the Roses collection. I had to build it all up again when I started.
Right.
You're back, you know, never give them away. That's the thing. So that's why it's filling up.
Good point to come up from our man from over the water, Charles Latour. He's in the rebel colonies, sir. How's he going to get a rule set?
Oh God, yes. Well,
gonna have to go PDF, is he?
I think that's your best bet. There is a North American stockist which you could find out by getting in touch with Wargames Illustrated. They have got a North American stockist. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but they will put you in touch with them. There's an Australian one as well and a European one. Yeah.
And you think that they'll be able to get print copies of Billhooks?
Yeah, they should. Well, you know,
eventually.
Depending on eventually.
WI may well ship internationally. We don't know.
Yeah, something's gone very wrong with international post in the last couple of years. Yes. Things are taking forever. I think they send them by T-Clipper or something. You know.
That'd be a lot quicker than that by T-Clipper, sir.
Yeah, I think they probably would. Yeah, but they will get there eventually. But if you want the PDF, that's a very quick way of doing it, and it comes out quite nicely from what I've seen. So
and because I forgot to say, there's copies of tokens and stuff in the back. There was a lovely tear out sheet, you know, perforated with the idiot sheet, crib sheet.
Yeah. All the play sheets and the tokens and the cards can be downloaded for free from Wargames Illustrated
for printable versions.
Yeah, but they have produced them in, you know, proper professional type cards.
I was going to say that.
Tokens as well. But if you just want to print them out for free and fit, you know, do a bit of Prit sticking, you know, that'll do it to get you going. And then if you like it, you go on to the proper stuff.
But you can get the general cards and the disorder tokens and so forth as a set from Wargames Illustrated.
Yeah, or from the other stockists. Yeah,
from the other stockists.
Yeah.
All right, Charles. It was Charles. That's Charles. Andy, it was lovely having you on.
It's a pleasure.
Really, really nice to meet you and chat. Do love me the Wars of the Roses. Definitely going to catch up with you at Salute. Maybe you'll be able to show us something or tell us something about what's coming up, because if we can be heard, which is always the problem with interviewing at Salute, we with the shows we go to, we do a few interviews, so it'll be lovely to catch up with you there.
Yeah, I'll be on the Wargames Illustrated stand. There'll be a display game on. Yeah,
nice.
That will have some boats in it, definitely.
Right. Good. That's medieval boats, no?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching.
Very good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.